We're going to kick off the inaugural Voices of Tomorrow panel. First off, welcome to Tomorrow. This is the first ever Tomorrow World event, and we're starting the first ever Voices of Tomorrow panel. So it's an exciting evening. My name is Shannon Thaler. I'll be moderating the panel tonight. And we have some incredible innovators and founders up here to hopefully inspire you and share a little bit more about what they're doing. We have Rory McCloskey with Tomorrow, Ben Weiss, the founder of Syntilay, if you haven't already checked out what he's doing at the booth over here, and Scott McKenna with Careless. So just to kick things off, let's go down the line here. Please introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about what you're doing. Scott, just kick us off.
Scott McKenna, originally from South Africa. I'm a 5-time founder coming from the UK. And 2 years ago, we began building the world's first personal protection platform, where we're trying to reimagine personal protection as peace of mind by coupling subscription-based insurance with lifestyle-embedded services.
I'm Ben Weiss, and I'm proud to have a product at Tomorrow. We scan your feet and we make custom 3D printed shoes to fit you perfectly. So it's a new way to interact with footwear and to have an interesting experience that really understands you. We're merging footwear and technology and making footwear into a technology category.
And you're modeling them right now too.
Yes, I am. I've got to, of course.
Strong look. I am Rory McCloskey, and I'm the Director of Business Development here at Tomorrow. We opened Tomorrow just over 3.5 months ago, and I have the pleasure of curating, working, and helping to storytell our brand partners here on site.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. Rory, hold on to the mic because I'm going to come to you for this first one. Because Tomorrow is all about bringing innovation directly to the public. You can see that with all of the stands here this evening. So what does innovation mean to you right now, and how has that definition evolved in your work?
Yeah, I think for me, innovation, it's become ingrained in my day-to-day. It's about finding and curating and championing products that make a positive impact on people's everyday lives. One key part of my job is always thinking about the consumer and what does the consumer want. So it's looking for brands that are a trend or a concept that can become retail ready and bringing them into retail and trying to make sure that we can show that differentiation, show that USP from an offline standpoint.
Absolutely. I'm going to come down the line here, Ben, because you bring a unique perspective as a founder. So what does innovation mean to you?
I think innovation is about taking giant leaps in categories that haven't had these types of developments in them. For us, we're in the footwear space. The footwear space hasn't been a technology category, although it's been like tech adjacent. We've had interesting technologies developed for footwear, but it hasn't just went to the next phase. And so we see this as an innovation opportunity, as a white space, as the founder of Reebok, who's my partner in this, likes to call it. And so that's why we're all about giving personalization, one-of-one product to this type of category and to bringing technology into it to provide a good experience when you're wearing footwear, an even better experience than what's been possible without technology. So I think it's about finding those white space areas and bringing something that improves people's lives in those categories.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to toss the same question to you, Scott. Tell us about innovation in your role.
I echo what Ben said. I think for me it's going into categories specifically for us insurance that are highly uninnovated, specifically in the UK. Old legacy systems that for a lot of people are a pain point rather than a point of protection, which is what they really should be. And looking at ways to bring back the customer at the center of that journey, treating them with empathy and trying to treat protection as a service rather than something that people feel they need, and at the time that they need to do it, it's really a painful process to require that.
Yeah, for sure. And as a founder, what inspired you to take the leap of faith to start something new? What opportunity pushed you to start?
I think I must have some sort of bug in me because this is my 5th venture. So I think I was probably always going to be a founder. I started in the influencer marketing space, building brands with influencers. Thereafter had my own brand and digital agency, kind of servicing most of the brands you would see in here, or like brands like these. and thereafter co-founded an influencer agency. So I've always had the bug for innovation and building. I think that the journey is probably the most fun part in building as a founder. I think when things get too big, they kind of lose their excitement. But yeah, it's kind of been something that I've always been passionate about.
Yeah. I would love to know how you manage stress while building a company too. All right, Ben, so how do you think consumers find new ideas and products today compared to 5 years ago? I mean, especially with something like sneakers, where that's something people shop for almost daily.
Well, I think product discovery is changing a lot. That's why I think like tomorrow in general is a really good concept. And I know you'll talk a bit more about this because it's not my area. But I think tomorrow, the experiential retail concept of tomorrow is really the future of retail. That's why Syntilay is a part of this, because footwear, you can go buy it online, you can find it on websites, but 70% of shoes are bought in person. And then when you build this innovative experience of having people actually walk onto a scanner, it makes a 3D model of your feet. They find out for the first time their left foot's bigger than their right, or their right's bigger than their left. That's something that requires the right kind of communication. And you need the right kind of retail partner to communicate that effectively. So that's why we wanted to partner with Tomorrow, because they care a lot about experiential retail. And I think the future of retail in general is all around experiences, because why would you buy a product in person versus online if online is more convenient? It's got to be experience oriented. So that's what we're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Segues really beautifully into my question for Rory. When you think about the future of innovation, technologically, culturally, or even emotionally, what are the biggest shifts that you're seeing?
I'll say that in the context of doing this job for the last 6 years. One of the biggest shifts I've seen is the health and wellness market. I think pre-COVID, health and wellness, it used to be called health and fitness. Now it's wellness, because it's so much more than fitness. It's about the well-being of the everyday consumer, and you've got to take a few examples from that. We look at Oura Ring, recently valued at over $11 billion. There's another company that we're speaking to right now. It's a smart urine tracker, just raised over 34 million in their most recent seed. And I think right now as well, AR is becoming quite mainstream. You won't see it here right now because the stage has replaced it, but we work with a very cool brands that we took from UK to Europe and most recently the US, and it's a brand called X-Ray. They are leading in the hardware AR glasses market. They've got an airplane execution here, which we had to remove to make way for us. But even looking at AR 5 years ago, it first came out via widgets with Snapchat. Now it's a whole hardware market in itself.
It just means that everyone in the audience is going to have to come back and see what was here. For startups, let's come back down the line. If you could pass the mic to Ben, please, or Scott. We're going to talk from the perspective of founders, so I'll probably ask both of you. But for startups, success and discovery can obviously make or break success. How do you think platforms, partnerships, or experiences like even attending a panel, partnering with something like a Tomorrow, are changing the rules?
So like how partnerships in general are changing.
Yeah, and how is that helping make or break your success?
So what we're trying to do at Syntilay is like reinvent the signature shoe partnership. So there's obviously the footwear brands we're all aware of. There's 4 or 5 pretty predominant footwear brands that have been the brands for 20 or so years. We see an opportunity to back content creators, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch stars with their own shoes like the athletes have got. And so what we did is we created the world's first AI designed slide shoe. It became a big story. It was mentioned on the front page of USA Today and countless other avenues, because what it did was not only be on trend with AI as a topic point, it took the time frame down from 1.5 years to make a new shoe to 3 months, because we're doing generative AI to make footwear, and then we're printing, and we also have no molds, and we can print on demand. And so we reinvented this space to give a new class of talent their own shoes. And so we also had to reinvent the partnership model for that. There's a typical athlete model. It's a endorsement model for athletes. It's, hey, here's a certain amount of cash. Now you're going to go and endorse our product. If you're good enough, maybe we'll build your own product, but generally it's we'll partner with you on existing design and then change it up a little bit, give you your own shoe. So we reinvented how that partnership looks, because there's a new talent class that the rules aren't written for yet. And so we came with a different structure, and that was innovation in partnerships. And I think that's just going to continue to be what we need to do in this space. It's the white space avenue.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Scott, where like healthcare is not really a space that a partnership is as overt?
When we built our business, we kind of looked at what is the big issue specifically in insurance for our category, and that has, people might think that it's clunky forms to fill in, but it's actually distribution. It's why you see in specifically countries like the UK and even here, these big aggregator websites where you need to give away all your data to get given 20 different quotes that are priced from overly excessive to way too cheap. And what we saw is, what if we could create a brand that could embed itself in the places where customers are purchasing the items that we're looking to cover. So if that's purchasing a new handbag or purchasing a new watch, what if you could leave the store insured and make that purchase journey so much simpler for consumers, but also allowing them to have that protection at point of sale rather than trying to target these customers down the line when they've already made this purchase, it's sitting in a safe. So for us, stores like SmartTake and Selfridges specifically, obviously we're in the UK, are the types of innovative stores that are allowing that platform for companies like ours to really embed ourselves both online and in store, which I think is hugely exciting across all types of consumer. And we're really trying to make insurance a more of a consumer product embedded into lives rather than this financial protection that everyone either doesn't understand or doesn't know how to purchase effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And since you're no stranger to starting up new ventures, I want to toss this one to you. What's something you wish more people understood about bringing a new platform to the market?
I mean, I wish I could write code, would be a good start. I'm a non-technical founder in a very technical space. What I will say is we're privileged to live in a time where with good design and good strategy, you can build all types of platforms with low code or no code tools. I actually, on the way here in the cab, built like 10 app screens, just prompting an AI. So I think we're really lucky to be in that time. When I had a design and digital agency 10 years ago, we had to have 5 developers and 5 designers. So I think we're in a really unique standpoint. I think it's going to be interesting to see how much creativity and design play a role now and become a really valuable asset in businesses, because a lot of the technical skill sets that you used to need are really democratized now, which I think for new entrepreneurs is probably the most exciting time. Anyone can build anything. If you've got an idea to do so, there's all the tools available for executing on that.
Yeah, wonderful. I love that. Ben, this next question is for you. Can innovation still happen in a lean and scrappy way, or has it become too dependent on funding and scale?
That's a good question for me, because I bootstrapped this company up till 2 weeks ago. So it can happen. It's definitely possible. I'll tell you, I had a really interesting experience with fundraising in general. There was a point in time where I was just pitching tons of VCs like nonstop all around the world. And I had lots of great conversations with them, but nothing ever led to anything. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to build something and that's it. And then I got a lot further along with doing that approach, with the little resources that I had. And then I wound up getting funding when I maybe wasn't seeking it in the same way. So I think just in general for entrepreneurs, it's just all about building with whatever you have, the minimum viable product, the best kind of situation for you that's possible. But innovation comes from all different avenues. And I think also just being a founder, like you really want to be open-minded. I have different people that pitch me on taking calls all the time. And you want to be like a yes man. You want to, do a lot of these calls because you never know what could happen. And one of those calls was Tomorrow. Tomorrow reached out to us, and I wasn't sure what it was, and now it's turned into something really awesome. So I think there's a lot of innovation from lots of avenues, and there's innovation from people bootstrapping all over.
Yeah, amazing. And you lived to tell the tale. You survived it all. So
thank God.
Yeah, absolutely. Rory, for you, because you have a unique vantage point, seeing all these different products and seeing the way that consumers react. So in such a flooded market, what have you noticed makes a product stand out?
I think it's products that can identify a problem and fix and resolve it. I'm sat next to 2 gentlemen here. You look at Syntilay, making custom-made shoes. That's totally unique in what you might say is a crowded market. Syntilay Sustainability First, which is a totally unique as well within the shoe market. Sat next to Scott here as well with the digital first platform for insurance. No fixed terms. I think when you can identify something as a problem within the consumer facing industry and fix it and resolve it, I think that's a really good vantage point when bringing out a product.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Scott, coming back down the line to you, how do you balance risk and resilience when you're building something that's never existed before?
With extra resilience, probably. I think all businesses have risk. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. I think you sign up for an kind of endless amount of risk. You're in a dark room and you're kind of batting around, testing what you think will work. Ultimately, the market always decides. So I think the quicker you can iterate and get product in front of consumers, the better. But I also wonder what the real risk is. I think if you fail, you come out and you've learned a whole business, a whole industry. You've learned what doesn't work. So I think that risk is kind of perceived. Resilience. I'm sitting next to a founder who bootstrapped. We bootstrapped. I think you can't get to where you're VC backed or get post funding unless you are resilient. I think all VCs know that, and all founders have to learn that, otherwise you kind of throw in the towel too early and you don't know where you would have ended up.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Innovation also rarely happens in isolation. So how do you think collaboration between brands, creators, or maybe you even collaborated with a competitor has shaped what comes next?
I think specifically the creator space is really interesting, and I think your guys' angle is really interesting. I started my career on that basis of saying, well, what if we create brands with creators and almost reverse engineer the demand? So kind of audience first marketing. Let's find out what this kind of creator is a specialist in. Let's co-create a product with them, and then let's put that in front of an audience and see how successful that is. And for us, it was really successful. I think the creator has become exponentially bigger than it was in 2017 when I was in the space. I'm still a co-founder in a luxury talent agency in the UK. We're one of the leading luxury agencies in the UK, and that business is growing year on year. I think creators undoubtedly are marketing powerhouses. We all know it. We all see people going from YouTube to boxing to WWE. And I think that media value is, for brands now, a must if you really want to achieve the scale and the consumer demand that brands need to achieve these days. So I think that, coupled with really strategic brand partnerships, creating a lot of touch points and an omni-channel approach, is really the way you do it. But I think creators is really a great way to accelerate that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a handful of years ago, being a creator as a full-time job wasn't even viable, and now I feel like I saw a meme on Instagram not too long ago of like a kindergartner saying, I want to be a creator when I grow up. And so the world has changed, marketing has changed. Ben, I want to know what your answer to that would be as well, because I know you have unique collaborations both at the creator level and just on your founding team between founder of Reebok, and I know you have a shark on your team. So tell us more about that.
So we believe creator collaborations are the future. Touching on what he said, I think they're the best marketing outlet, but I also think they're more than a marketing outlet. I think creators have been only used as marketing outlets for a long time. Co-brand development was something really new that you were involved in. I think was really innovative. I think that creators deserve their own products in the same way that athletes have gotten their own products. And we're at a shift right now where that makes sense but hasn't been done, and the traditional methods just don't fully apply to that. That's why at Syntilay we debuted an entire different method to make a traditional product, because if we were going to go the traditional route, it was $2,000 to $4,000 a mold cost. We have to make molds for size 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 13 in every half size. We've got a minimum inventory commitment of 1,000 pairs, 500 pairs per shoe size. Then we also have a designer expense. So we had to reinvent the entire system to even make it possible. I think that the shift from viewing creators as digital real estate into brands is happening, but it's not happening with the same value system as what athletes have gotten. Although they're more engaged with than many athletes, they're engaging with their audience all the time, and their audience is their product. So we're trying to make that shift right now, starting with footwear, and then we're going to expand to other areas. But I think creators are the future of collaboration in general. There's something like 80,000 creators with over 1 million followers around the world. Tons of them have fan bases. They try to sell merch to sustain themselves. And it seems like everything is just creator-ified right now. Every brand's becoming creator-like, so I think that's the future and future of collaborations.
Yeah, absolutely. Rory, this next question is for you, because platforms like Tomorrow help uplift founders like Scott and Ben. And so you could argue that it really is the fuel for the ecosystem of innovation. So can you tell us more about that and how it does fuel that ecosystem?
Yeah, I think when we look at it, we want to, you'll see there's two strands of brands in the store. It's your market leaders, but the second strand are also your disruptors. And we want to champion disruptors, people who found a niche in a category and need that right offline experience, need a blend of the right execution, the right storytellers, the right type of, I would say, omni-channel presence, be that mixing offline and online, phygital, making sure that we're giving brands the right 360 presence to have their story told and really drive that brand awareness. And one of the biggest pieces from Tomorrow is that consumer piece. It's the consumer coming in, getting an engagement, getting an education, and being able to hear the story of the brand, but ultimately the USPs as well. And that's a really important piece of the puzzle that we feel is still missing and is a main part of the reason of why we came to be.
Yeah, well, you've got your finger on the pulse, so now tell us, what's one innovation, a product, a tool that you think everyone here will be using or talking about in 5 years?
Wow, it's a very good question. I think we're looking at trends a little bit, and I think 2 letters that might not yet have been said on this stage is AI. Maybe it has, and I missed it. But I think AI is becoming less of an addition or less of a software upgrade and a lot more foundational now when it comes to looking at hardware. So there will be something within that hardware AI space in 5 years that we won't have even heard of yet. So I can't actually give a clarity to that question, but it's something which will be foundational and grown from AI up.
Yeah, talk to you again in 5 years. Scott, I'm going to come back to you for this next one. If you could give one piece of advice to the next generation of creators and founders, what would it be?
I think speed is probably going to be one of the biggest challenges for people to keep up with. I think even now, in the last 2-3 years of building, it's been pretty incredible to see just the speed of, as you said, AI and what that's enabling people to do. I think that protecting your IP and creating a really strong brand is going to have a really big play, because when everyone can make everything fast, having the right identity and being able to resonate with consumers and build that brand equity is going to be probably the biggest asset that you can have. And I think probably the most offensive point too, because if AI is democratized and everyone has access to the same tools, creativity, empathy, and brand become probably the biggest assets that you can't really copy. Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola. There's only one of them, so it will remain that way forever. So I think, probably brand and speed.
Yeah, it's interesting because you talk about AI, but those qualities are the most, you could argue, like inherently human qualities that there are.
Yeah, I think you can design empathy, right? Like that's the whole point with AI, is that we are taking things that were traditionally A, B, C, D steps and turning them into a conversational approach and a human approach. So I think designing empathy and designing brand and designing that, bringing back the human connection when everything is becoming so online, and that's why places like this are so needed, is that we're bringing people back in the room and bringing them back to the kind of human essence of experience, whether that's online in your purchase journey or whether that's physically in store, experiencing products firsthand and hearing from the founders. You can't replicate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, over to you, because before you were a founder, you were just an everyday consumer as well. So beyond being a founder of a brand, how can the everyday consumer help drive innovation forward?
Well, how do consumers value innovation? I mean, they put their money towards it. So I think if consumers are out here spending money and buying innovative early adopter type products, then that's the best way. I think actually like one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason why we like Tomorrow so much, is Tomorrow's a first mover. So tomorrow likes interesting, innovative concepts that haven't yet hit retail in other areas, and they're ready to jump on them and be the first ones there, which is actually fairly hard to get done in other retailers. Like, they don't all want to be first. You would think they want to be first and have something really interesting and different, and that's a great value add, and we can market around that, but it's proven to be something that's quite difficult to get done. And tomorrow's like, hey, we actually like that. We want to be the first ones. And there's always going to be a place for something like that, but there hasn't really been enough of places like that, and especially one that's experiential and has like the second biggest hologram in the world, hanging out over here that makes you feel like you're in the future. So that's what we like about it.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. It's like those companies that want an entry-level job opening with like 5 to 7 years of experience. It's like, come on, guys. All right, Rory, take us home as we put a nice bow on this conversation. What excites you most about where innovation is headed over the next decade?
I go back to my tenure here at Smart Tech of being just over 6 years, and I've already seen such a shift in innovation. I think I always like to caveat the word innovation with lifestyle innovation, because I think innovation is about enriching people's lives. It's about carrying hardware products that people can walk in and say, that will make my life better. Not drastically, not dramatically, but they're buying that because, well, for the purpose of enjoying it. And that to me is one of the most exciting parts, is the shift I've already seen in the last 6 years. It's going to accelerate, it's going to be quicker, it's going to be even more exciting in the next 10 years as well.
Yeah, and then conversely, what keeps you up at night? What's the biggest threat to progress of creativity that you see coming?
I think it's making sure that Ben gets those 50 pairs of Syntilays to Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes.
Yes. No, it's about making sure that we can stay ahead of the trend. And I think that's the beauty of tomorrow. While we work in traditional technology, I think one of the biggest things that we love to bring to the consumer, because the consumer's emotive, and the consumer wants to make felt, they want to feel like there's a purpose behind every product. And I think that comes by way of the true innovation. Traditional tech's amazing, and there's always a place for traditional tech, but we want to make sure that we bring in that right type of innovation. And so I have an amazing team with me that are curating products, that are engaging with brands, and it's about making sure that we can stay trend-led when it comes to that innovation sphere.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for that. And just like that wraps our panel this evening. Please give it up for our speakers. Ben, Rory, Scott, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope to anyone in the audience, if you have questions for our founders, if you want to stick around, say hi, I hope you do so. Again, my name is Shannon, and it was great to be with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, thank you. Great job, guys.